Calling all entrepreneurs, get ready because today we've got not one, but two Olivia Popes in the house. We're talking about fixing your business. Coming up next on The Pulse. Hello, I'm Denise Roberts, and welcome to The Pulse. Did you know that 90% of startups fail within the first 5 years? 45% will close their doors in the first 6 months, and 62% of startups fail because of conflicts between co-founders. Clearly, these numbers are not in your favor, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. Being the boss often means you are also head of marketing, sales, accounting, human resources, and more. And sometimes you could use some help, right? So today we brought in the fixers. Joining me to turn the tables is Harrington, small business advisor at IKEA Consulting, and Remi Duyile, president and CEO of the Image Consulting Group. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
So you ladies are the experts going into businesses. Can you just talk about, starting with you, some of the common issues that you see when you go into a business that need to be addressed?
Sure. Some of the common things that I see are a lack of planning at all levels, and that kind of infiltrates all the different areas of business. Finance is a big area, just in terms of cash flow. Sales and marketing, really identifying your target market so that you can do an effective sales and marketing campaign.
Okay.
And then effective personnel management. Just knowing when to hire, when to fire, and everything in between in terms of taking care of your employees in the interim.
Okay. Remi, can you just give maybe a specific example of maybe a hurdle that you've seen when you've gone into a business and trying to help them, or a challenge that they've had to face or address, and how to fix it?
Sure. In addition to what Afi has said,
Sure.
going to places and seeing what is going on.
Okay.
Entrepreneurs are in so many things. They're so much of an expert because they're coming with a passion to birth something fresh. So they're doing everything and no focus. That makes it very impossible to build a system whereby you have your operations and your sales systems working for you. So what I've seen in corporations that I've gone to is being able to slow them down. It's okay, you're smart in everything, but you have to have a focus. So that means you can start with one thing and grow to another thing. That way you have results which would encourage them as a new business to continue to strive to grow. So that's what I have seen when I've gone around, just been all over the place.
And are these challenges pretty much usually in the beginning stages?
Not necessarily just the beginning. It can go on for a long time because, as Remi said, they are all over the place in the weeds, and it just gets worse as it grows. They stay in the weeds, and so you find the same issues even as you grow.
And it makes a lot of sense because sometimes you see, or a business owner will start out being the actual trade or learning their craft and becoming an expert at it, and then all of a sudden they want to become the business owner, and it's hard to transition or change the mindset, right?
Yes. Right. I mean, it's a mindset thing. And of course, changing is not even the hard part. Just being able to know what lane should you pursue. Just like if you're working for an employer, there are expectations of you. But when you're your own boss, you're it. So you've got to manage your time well to ensure that you focus results-oriented activities. Because at the end of the day, you still have to pay the bills and pay for everybody. So it's really important to take advantage of the fact that you are the boss, but you are responsible for everything, and that means you have to manage your time well.
Sure. And Afi, how do you address the lack of planning? I mean, where does a business owner start, you know?
Usually I ask a lot of questions about, do you have a business plan or a mission or a vision? And usually getting them to talk about that helps them to open up to talk about what they're really trying to do. And then everything that we just talked about is the fact that a lot of business owners start as a technician, which means they know the technical work. But they have to evolve to understand that in order to really build the business, you have to have management and entrepreneurial aspects. And whether it comes from you or whether you bring somebody else in to bring that to the table, you need the balance.
And Remi, what have you seen in terms of planning or lack thereof with some of your clients?
Right. With the planning, I guess it's everywhere. Okay. The planning is something that maybe it's procrastination, excitement, it's a little bit of everything, but still being able to stop and say, you know what, this needs to be done. Because when you look at how you worked in wherever you were coming from, being an employee, you had regulations, you had things that you had to be responsible for. You have to make an intentional effort to put operational systems that would work. That means your finances, your marketing, and so on and so forth, and your sales. Because you can't be everywhere and no income. At the end of the day, you have to pay your bills. So people have been able to change their orientation when we've had that conversation, saying, you know what, you're smart, yes, no doubt. Entrepreneurs are the smartest people on earth. But you can't be everything to everybody.
Right.
You've got to prioritize and manage your time, because you only have 24 hours in a day, just like everybody else. And when you sit with them and they see the picture, they turn around. I mean, we're not saying this to scare people away. We're just saying it so that they can be cognizant of what is important, so that they don't get burnt out. Because your passion made you to birth something. Guess what? You want to enjoy the birth of this great business.
Okay, and so how can a business owner benefit from the expertise of business coaches? What's involved in the process?
Well, everybody has a different process, but one of the biggest things that I think that an entrepreneur can get from a advisor or coach is kind of an objective perspective and outside view. We already said that they can't see the forest for the trees most of the time. So it's our job to bring them up to 30,000 feet and look across and look at everything and put the systems in place and really try to help them to see, because oftentimes they're so focused on things so deep in the weeds that they can't see, and we're trying to really help them to get root cause effects and really understand whatever symptoms they can tell us to really figure out what's the root of it. It's almost like being a family practice doctor. You're just going in and listening to the symptoms and really trying to figure out what the underlying problems are.
And is it easy to get through to them? Or is it a challenge just getting them to even just be open to a service like that?
I believe it's a relational thing. Initially, you have to earn their trust. And once you earn their trust, they see you as an accountability partner. They see you as someone who wants their success.
Okay, give me just 1 second, and we're going to come right back to that conversation. Okay, stay with us, because we're coming right back for more with our fixers.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire, but you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome back to The Pulse. If you're just tuning in, we are turning the tables on common issues facing small business owners. We had a business question come to us on Twitter from Jennifer Bratton, owner of House of La Di Da, a women's boutique based in Largo, Maryland. Her question is about tips for marketing online sales. I want to create a website to advertise and sell merchandise. How do I market my website to attract customers and generate sales? You know, marketing is such a broad topic, so where does one begin? And is it hard to market online sales?
Well, I would say when we started, one of the things I said was the common problem I see is people have to identify their target market. That's so important, because some business owners will say, oh, I serve everyone, and that's not really true. You have to know who you're serving, because we do have so much technology and things out there that we can use, and you need to know where those customers are. There's so many things that you can do with targeting and Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads, but you have to know who you're targeting to be able to get the right things into the system to target appropriately. You don't want to put an ad into a magazine that your potential customers don't read. So you really have to nail down who is your customer base so that you can know where to find them.
Okay. Remi, how would you respond to that question?
Right. I mean, finding your customer base and you also being able to use the tool, Facebook. You go to where you can use the tool. You don't just do it because they say to do it. If you don't know how to use Facebook and you use Facebook to advertise, you're not going to be able to maximize the use. So you have to find your comfort zone in any of the social media that you believe can work for your clientele. Because if you're not learning that and you're going around with different systems, you won't hit that target audience, and it gets frustrating, because I've been there. I'm not so techie. So there are things that I don't rush to like any techie person. I know my lane, so I stay in my lane. So we have to identify what is our lane, what medium can we use to engage our audience, and once we find that, let's master that before we add more to it and get more confused and frustrated.
Okay. What about hiring employees? How do you go about finding the right people if you're able to even be at a point where you can bring on more people to your company?
Once again, it's similar to the marketing in the fact that you have to define what you're really looking for. I think a lot of small business owners do not want to write very robust job descriptions, but if you're going to hire, you need to know what your need is, and you need to know what the skill set is that the person that you're going to hire is going to need, because that will help you define what you put out there. That's going to be who you attract based on what you're saying you need, and that's going to be how you evaluate those people against this potential position. So it's very important to really define your need very clearly.
What about you, Remi?
Right, and as a business owner, you want to be out there in the community. You want to have that servant's heart whereby you're volunteering and aligning yourself with strategic, important things happening around you. When you do such, you might run into inexpensive volunteers, people who can help you where you are before you break the bank, get a way to use them to come up with your job description. But as a leader, we need to be out there serving, volunteering, and networking, and being part of associations where we can leverage the people we have who can say, oh, I know this person, and then we give it a try. And then, of course, like Afi said, having that job description, you've got to, you have to know what to expect. If you can't inspect it and don't know it, you're not you won't know how to hold anyone accountable. If you don't know what to expect, and then you hire somebody, everything will look good, and then it blows right back in our faces. So I suggest that let's get out there, let's volunteer, let's align with things that are happening that are business related, and along the line, invest in interns. There's so many schools around us in Prince George's County or wherever. Invest in interns, mentor them, let them know you care. When you give them your heart, they're going to do all the best to ensure that you get from that point A to point B.
Is it safe to say that businesses in Prince George's County, I'm assuming you have clients here in the county. Is it safe to say that businesses in Prince George's County have different issues that they have to face versus businesses in other jurisdictions?
I think the root of business is not necessarily jurisdiction specific. A lot of the issues that we talked about are just the growing pains of building a small business, and so it doesn't really matter where you are. You're going to face the same issues. Now, you might have some additional resources that are available in the county. It just depends, but I think a lot of times it's just knowing. There's a perception that there are other things available in other jurisdictions, but sometimes people just aren't aware of what's available in their own county. Access to capital is a big one. I think that people aren't aware of resources that are available in the county that offer small business loans and things of that nature. And if they were educated about that, then that perception of what they may be facing in this particular county might fade.
Is there any other advice that you'd have to offer businesses before we close out the show today?
Right. They need to walk outside of their business. They need to look beyond what they're dealing with every day. Because when you're building and growing something, you have to look at the way you're going, aligning yourself with the right resources. So when you get there, when you have a need, you know where you go to, like Afi said, there are resources. But if you're not in the know, then you can't know.
Thank you, ladies, so much for your time and for your advice. I want to say an official thank you to Afi Harrington and Remi Duyile for being on the show today. This show and previous episodes are posted on our website. It's diversity.mypgc.us, and click on The Pulse. We're also on Twitter and Facebook at PGC Diversity, and our YouTube channel is The Pulse TV. If you have a business question, send it to us on Twitter at PGC Diversity, and we'll answer it for you and mention your business on the show. Be sure to use the hashtag #AskThePulse. I'm Denise Roberts, and remember, in Prince George's County, your success is our success.